what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to Forgiven AF Podcast. Remember, we use this as marketing material for our nonprofit Second Chance Mentors. I know I say this at the beginning of every episode, but it's just really important because that's kind of the basis of why we do this, you know? But it's cool because, well, you know what? I'm going to save that because we have a huge announcement at the end of this episode. So I'm going to wait to get to that, but it's something that I'm really excited about, something me and Bryan are really excited about. But
definitely.
I don't know if y'all remember, if you go back, man, I don't even know, maybe to season 2, I believe maybe season 2, me and Bryan did an episode together, and Bryan had, I don't know, not just got out of prison, but had a lot less time out of prison than we have now. So it was really cool. So we're going to kind of do like a recheck-in. Me and Bryan are like pretty much best friends now. Ever since when he got out of prison, he met someone, a girl named Kristen, and she was like, oh, you need to go find Shawn and meet Shawn. And he came to the gym, we met, and right away we just hit it off. Like, we've pretty much been inseparable since. We go to church together. We run a men's group together. Our families do everything together. Our kids hang out together. Like, because I believe very strongly that the people that you run with are going to determine where you end up in life. And I've learned that more so in a positive way after prison, because I always made that mistake growing up. I wanted to hang out with who seemed cool and who was, you know what I mean, who was running the streets and because I thought that was what was important, you know, back in the day. But so first of all, Bryan, thank you for coming back on, dude. I'm excited to have you. Man. Can you kind of just giving us a quick rundown of, and you can even break back, actually, can you kind of just almost like in a way of start over of kind of like who you are and, you know, what you've got going on, just because some people might not have seen our episode before.
Yeah. So I was doing wrong entirely too long and led me to prison, drug addiction, and ended up selling drugs and getting caught up, going in and out of prison multiple times. Would get out, would, mess up within the first few weeks. And this time was completely different. I completely surrendered to God while I was in prison. Said I wasn't going to do this life anymore without him, and I was going to live for him. So when I got out of prison this year, it's been a little over 3 years now. I haven't taken my foot off the gas. I don't skip church, don't skip men's group, don't skip Bible time or time in prayer. Make sure to keep my sobriety at the forefront and attend meetings, as well as, doing a lot of other things, counseling, mentorship, marriage coaching, all these things. So since getting out, or since our last episode, I have started a second business. We're a little bit off to a rocky start, but we started Trinity West Trucking. I've also gotten married, combined a family. Excuse me.
And that's not easy to do.
Man, and we got 7 kids between us, dude. So this is no easy feat. Let's just say that.
Sometimes when you have all the kids with you, even I get a little bit overwhelmed. I'm not even going to lie.
Dude, our house is packed. And it's cool, man. Like we do the cheesy stuff, dude. We have family game night. We eat dinners together. We pray together. We go to church together. It's kind of funny, though. We don't have a big enough car, so we got to take 2 separate vehicles anytime we go somewhere. There's obviously challenges that come with blending a family and all these different personalities and things like that. But it's been so rewarding since then.
What would you say are some of the hard parts? Because everyone thinks, oh, I'm going to get married. It's going to be so great. Life is going to be awesome. And I feel like we can talk about this, like transparency wise, because marriage is hard. But so what do you think have been some of the struggles as far as like a new marriage with new kids, a new business?
Finding balance, number one, being able to balance, it's easy to focus so much on work and providing for my family and not pour into my marriage, specifically just me and my wife and communicating. It's real easy to kind of ignore and take for granted the simple things, the being intentional with the being present with the kids. That's, I believe, super important. And there's a ton of challenges, right? There's communication challenges. There's the challenge to realize that marriage isn't always fun and that marriage is a job. Marriage takes work. You have to be intentional. And then, of course, when you have kids, there are certain kids that are a little bit easier, typically when they're younger. And as they get older, that presents a whole new set of challenges. And that can be in itself a headache and an actual job in itself, too.
That's good. Yeah. That's because then these little boys, especially ours, they end up growing up and I see myself in them more and more. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I actually literally think to myself every once in a while, like my poor dad, because like I was probably worse. I know I had this attitude with my parents from like middle school, high school on, and then I start to hear from my son, and I'm like, oh man, I literally want to call my dad and apologize. You know,
it's
what I'm like,
funny. You get a whole new respect for your parents,
Yeah,
right? I've
yeah.
called my dad. I can't tell you how many times, like, man, I'm so sorry. He's like, stop apologizing.
That's so
But something
funny.
new will happen and make me realize that was me too.
That's so good.
Yeah, and that's kind of the scary part, right? Is when you can see yourself in your kids, knowing that the mistakes that I made and the path that I took, man, that worries me, dude. That's a fear, like a real fear, because I don't want them to have to face the same challenges and make the same mistakes. But inevitably, like, they're their own people, and you kind of have to find that balance, right? Of how much control do I give up and how much do I try and keep and let them still bump their heads without hopefully causing big damage and impact their lives in a hugely negative way.
That's good. Yeah. And I'm having to learn a lot about apologizing to my son, because a lot of times something doesn't go how I expect it to go, and that was how I was raised, was this initial like type, you know what I mean? Not abuse, but aggression, right? Like not hitting, but that just goes from 0 to 100. You know what I mean?
Loudest voice in the room.
Yeah. And almost like where I'm trying to scare him into doing what's right, instead of like just being gentle and teaching. And I'm like, so I'm trying to navigate that. And I always mess that up. And the reason I just thought about that is because I saw a meme earlier today when I was scrolling, and it said something like, when you act like that, you're creating this like fight or flight, like panic in your kid. And that can like end up having like, and then so one time, I don't even know how I got into this, but one time the dog did something in Caden's room. That's my son. And I heard him get mad at the dog, and it reminded me of the way I get mad at him. And I immediately felt like convicted by it. Oh man, I need to do better with how I discipline.
And you brought up a good point, being able to apologize to your kids when you're wrong, I think carries a lot of weight, because number one, it teaches them accountability. Yep. It also teaches them humility. But as fathers, we want them to know that, we make mistakes too.
Yeah.
And I want my kids to know it's okay to mess up. Yeah. You're going to mess up. It's bound to happen. So when you do, own up to it, apologize, ask for forgiveness, and change the behavior.
That's so good. Like, because I have a lot of respect for someone when they can come back and apologize after something they've done. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people that will not. It doesn't matter how wrong they are. They're not going to apologize.
Dude, that was me pre-Jesus, man. I wasn't
stubbornness.
Saying sorry for nothing.
Yeah. And and that's
now it seems like I'm apologizing all the time, because I realize how much I fall short in every category. So
I almost over apologize, and I think it's because, like we've talked about all this time, I feel like I'm a people pleaser, and like I want people to like me, and I feel like if I start off with I'm sorry, like how can you not like someone who's already given you the respect?
How can you be mad at me?
Yeah,
you have to like that.
So I have to be careful with that, because I don't want him to have to take on that people pleaser role, and it's something that I still want to continue to work on. But so on to the next topic that I want to speak on is I want to talk about some of the struggles getting out of prison, right? Because we're going to go that path, because this podcast isn't just for people in prison, although it goes into the prisons, right? Which is pretty cool. Now, I had a guy, just to go off subject, yesterday I was sitting on the couch with my son, and the phone rang from like a number I'd never seen before, and I answered, and dude, you have a call from, and I'm thinking to myself, like, who do I know that's locked up right now? Who do I know that's locked up right now? And it was silent when it says the name.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that's interesting. I said, I'm going to take this call. So I put in my card number or whatever, and it tells me it's going to cost you 7 cents a minute. And I'm thinking to myself, here we go again. Like, I've spent money before with friends, you know what I mean?
Many times.
And I'm like, oh, what's this going to turn into? And so I go through the whole process, and hopefully he hears this and is listening. And then all of a sudden this guy gets on the phone. He's like, is this Forgiven AF? And I was like, well, yeah, this is Shawn. What's up? And he's like, no way. I never thought that you would answer the phone. Like, you said your phone number on one of these podcasts, so I just went and decided to call it. And bro, he went on and on and on about how he's into fitness and he's trying to eat healthy and he wants to do when he gets out of prison. And he was just blown away that I would like answer. And I was like, dude, like, that's why we do this. Like,
absolutely.
Like we take the time to do this stuff because we know what it's like to be on that side of it. We know what it was like to sit there and like someone answering the phone can like, you could do 3 months after that on like a whole different, you know what I mean? Like
it definitely gives you a different perspective. It gives you it re-energizes you and it motivates you too, right? Like, especially if he's into fitness and eating healthy, it gives you a reminder and confirmation that you're doing the right thing and everything else, dude. That's cool, man.
So now back to what I was going to get before. I just wanted to say that because I thought that was really cool and it made me feel good. And my son was so excited. He's like, Dad, did you tell Christy? Dad, did you tell Christy that the guy called you from prison? You know, like he thought it was cool. Sometimes and this is so not the way I feel, the way it is. Sometimes my son will be like, Dad, you're kind of like a celebrity. And I'm like, dude, I'm not a celebrity at all. Like,
hold up,
like,
dude.
200 people know my name. You know what I mean?
No.
And
I think you're a celebrity too. Because when Kristen told me to come find you, I was like, dude, this guy does a mentorship. He has a podcast. He does this.
that is so ridiculous.
He's so known. Like, that's so cool.
I would never claim that. Like, that's
like, no fanboy, but fanboy.
That's not the way I feel about, you know what I mean, about myself. But that's just not.
But that's that humility side of you. That's cool, man, that you're humble about it. You know, but how many times have we been somewhere, Shawn, and how many people, countless, it doesn't matter if we're eating dinner or if we're bowling with the kids of the Second Chance Mentor Program, somebody will come up and like, oh, hey, Shawnee, you know people, dude, and that's cool.
That is the same feeling of why I sold drugs. I didn't sell drugs for the money ever. I wasted it on everything. I sold drugs for that sense of like being the man, of people needing me, of people wanting me, of people, you know what I mean? Yeah. So like, I almost still, sometimes that still gives me that same sort of feeling of like, but what's cool now is it's about positive stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like,
no, I get it. Yeah. When somebody comes up to me at church and they're like, hey man, I heard about you through this and this and this. I'm like, cool, man. Where are you at with your prayer life? You know, like it kind of leads those conversations, and it's super cool.
You do better at that than I do. I don't do a good enough job of, I feel like I do good of like presenting, hey, look, this is how a Christian should live, or like, this is how I want you to see what I'm doing. Yeah. But you're not shy about talking about it and like straight, you know what I mean? Like,
well, cause and I know you believe this too. And I think, I think it's just something that I just happen to have confidence in. I know what worked for me because I know all the things that didn't work for me.
That's
right?
Good. Yeah.
What didn't work for me was myself, my ego, my pride, money, women, drugs, all those things never worked for me. They never filled me. They never changed me.
That's good.
But it wasn't until, God got a hold of me that true change happened, right? Like not just superficial change that lasted a month, but it seems like the more I go on, it's lasting change. So yeah, I want to tell everybody about it.
You're good, dude. You're good with that. So me and Brian have a men's group on Monday nights that we do. Mm-hmm. And we just started, man, I never even thought about doing this. And we just started this journal, right? And in the journal, I don't know. I'm going to have to pull out. I don't know if I have mine. Do you think we could come up with the 7 things off the top of our head?
I know it. 7 daily disciplines.
Okay. So we called them the 7 daily disciplines, right? So we came up with 7 things. Have you heard of that program 75 Hard, where you have like 10 things you got to do every day, and if you miss one, you got to start over? Well, ours is not that strict, right? If you miss one, we give you grace and you keep going. But it's called the 7 daily disciplines, and we write them down. The first one is your gratitude, like what you're thankful for the day. And it's got to be, I feel like it's got to be something different. I try to make mine something different every day, so I'm not over the same thing. The second one I have on my list is
act of service.
You have to do 1 act of service each day. So doing something for someone else other than yourself every day. The third one is, do we go straight to a gallon of water?
Gallon of water, 30 minutes of exercise.
A gallon of water, 30 minutes of exercise.
Chapter in the Bible.
1 chapter in the Bible.
Journal.
Prayer journal. You have to prayer journal. I do it, and mine is like 3 lines long, y'all. It is not some long, drawn out thing, but that's 3 minutes where I am uninterrupted in my thought to my paper in prayer. That like is really, it's a good connection for me. I feel like there's one more that we're missing out.
Act of service or gratitude, act of service. All of a sudden you put me on the spot and now I draw a blank.
This is what I got. Gratitude, act of service, gallon of water, 30 minutes of exercise, 1 chapter in the Bible, prayer journal.
30 minutes of being unplugged from your phone, putting your phone down and being intentional with whatever that is, whether that's spending time with your kids, spending time with your wife, just unplugging from the world and being present in that moment.
So if you're locked up and you want to do these 7 things, and I know I've just said it 5 kind of half times, I'm going to say one more clear time where we got it all, because that could be just putting the iPad down or whatever you use your technology wise, putting your headphones down and just go find someone. This is cool. I think this would be a cool challenge. Go find someone new and just chop it up with them for 30 minutes and just like find out about that person. Ask them questions about them. You don't know what that blessing could be on that other person's life. When I was in prison was, even though I was doing all these things I needed to do to get right, it's kind of a selfish time, right? Because you're really just thinking about
focusing on me,
on myself. Like, what am I doing? What do I need to do? What's next for me? When's my next move? When's the next chow hall? When's my next workout? Like, it was real selfish for me, which was good because I needed to get myself right. But here we go. Here's the 7 things again, okay? So it's
gratitude, something I'm grateful for every day, an act of service, doing something for somebody else outside of myself, 30 minutes of exercise, a gallon of water, 30 minutes at least unplugged, being intentional with being present in whatever it is you decide to be present with, whether it's talking to somebody else, prayer, meditation, whatever. one chapter in the Bible and some sort of journal.
And prayer journal, yeah. So and mine's not all long and drawn out. My prayer journal is like a couple sentences.
Half a page.
Yeah, I've never even made it to half a page, but that sounds awesome. I get like 3 or 4 lines, but I really try to be intentional with it. Dude, just try to do that, y'all. And we want feedback. I don't know how. I want you guys, I'm going to give you my address to the gym that we have, okay? Because I want you guys to be able to write us and to be able to communicate with us.
Yeah.
It's 2840 FM, which is Farm to Market, 2840 FM 157 North, Suite 106, Mansfield, Texas, 76063. And you can write Brian and I, you can write us both there. And once we finally get to, the, our big announcement, that'll make more sense too. Okay.
Yeah. And right, man, get you right. Because we'll write back. You know, we have time on our hands and we want to take the time to reach back out to individuals to reach out to us, you know. It makes doing time a little bit easier when you're able to communicate with the outside world.
It does help. All right. So check this out. Our big announcement. Well, what we wanted to know. So you guys know I have Second Chance Mentors, which is the program that we work with the youth that have been kicked out of school here. I get moms all the time trying to get their kids into our program because they're not listening to the parents, but that's not what my program is, or our program. Our program is these kids that are like us and have been kicked out of school and they get sent to the alternative school. I go there, hang out with the kids, tell them my testimony, and they can apply to be in the program. So I just want to make that clear because I'm having to turn down a lot of moms that are like, my kid's not listening to me. And like every time I've done that, I'm just chasing around some random kid that doesn't even pay attention, doesn't return to my calls or nothing. But these kids that they choose to be in the program are all in. But so what we're going to do is we have Second Chance Mentors now. We have one branch, which is the youth. And what we're about to do is start a second branch of Second Chance Mentors for people getting out of prison.
We should have hit like a drum roll or something. Yeah, there you go.
For guys getting out of prison.
Yeah, like a second chance, fresh out type thing.
Yeah, Fresh Out is going to be kind of the name of it. Brian is going to be the director of that side of the program. So he's going to be the one leading that. He's going to be the one taking charge. And he's already, dude, I kind of want you to can you break down all the different resources and stuff that you've already been working on that you've come up with?
Yeah. So when getting out, there's obviously a lot of challenges that you're going to face, you know, transportation, clothing, health insurance, all these things. So we've started putting together a list of resources and people that we're going to work with that will help with getting health insurance set up for you, as long as you're applying within the first 60 days of getting out, clothing, helping with the food stamp application so you can put some food in the fridge. We're also going to be able to help with jobs that hire felons or people with records. I've gotten a connection for a guy that gets cars and fixes them up and sells them to guys coming out of prison, guys with no credit, guys with bad credit. As long as you have some work history, you're working a little bit, he's willing to finance a vehicle for you. And these are all things that, you know, we think are important because, you know, the big our heart posture for this program is when you get out of prison, what are you going to do to increase your chances of being able to stay out? Yeah. We all know how easy it is to go back, but once you get out, man, it's such a good feeling to know that you're not going back.
Yeah, that's really good. And I think that the biggest thing for me as far as or that I notice with a lot of people that are going back is when they can't make any money, right? Like you get out, you're struggling. And like we get stuck in this like comparison thing. What I had to learn when I got out of prison was I had to learn like, hey, slow down. Like I was locked up for almost 7 years. Like slow down, pump your brakes. I'm not going to be able to compare myself to these guys who have been out grinding these whole time. Like I was living on my mom's couch, driving a 2010, and this is 2006. Like I guess I wasn't that old, but it was probably older than that.
Yeah.
Anyways, this old beat up white car that I was embarrassed to drive. But I just had to realize, hey, slow down, take your time, and the right things will happen. We even want to have at the gym here, we're going to have like support groups where we get together and we just all get together with a bunch of guys that are like-minded, trying to do good. We can share resources. I'm going to have speakers come talk. Yeah. We're going to do stuff like that. We're also going to do a community service day like once a month where the boys from the high school boys get together with these guys that have gotten out of prison and we merge everyone together and we go do community service. We find someone in the city that needs help. We find some old person that needs like their yard taken care of. We find a food bank where we can volunteer. And y'all, the benefit of giving back can change your whole outlook. Like every time that I've ever get stuck in this self-pity, right? Like, or feeling sorry for myself, if I can find someone else to go serve, it's almost always fixes that.
So I'll tell you, like, being in the recovery community, that's the first thing that my sponsor taught me. Anytime I'm in a bad place mentally, anytime I'm frustrated, anytime I'm struggling, whether it's financially, with a relationship, whatever the case may be, go help somebody else.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how when you change your thinking and your focus from, oh, this sucks, oh, this happened to me, oh, what am I going to do next? But instead now you're thinking, well, who can I go help? And then you actually do that. All of a sudden, you get outside of yourself, and all of a sudden, those problems end up handling themselves, or they become so minuscule that they don't overwhelm you.
So true. I start to feel it actually can embarrass me sometimes because I'm like, I'm over here worried about that, and this kid that I'm trying to help's mom told him that she hates him and she wants nothing to do with him, and I'm over here worried because like.
You got a flat tire.
I got a bill in the mail for like it sucks. I got to pay it.
It changes perspective, right?
It really does.
Yeah.
What do you, just to kind of piggyback on this idea, what do you think was the biggest struggle you had getting out of prison?
Really, it was just being uncertain of how I was going to be able to do things. I walked out of prison with, a $50 parole check and a buddy that was going to let me stay with him, but I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to put clothes on my back, food on my belly, or anything like that. So just the uncertainty of it. Yeah. And I think that's something that we're going to kind of alleviate, kind of take that stress away from guys that are getting out, is that, here's some ways that you can eliminate some of those things to where you're not having to stress on those. Yeah. Let's stress about the more important things. Let's stress about finding a church that's going to fit you, finding a community of men that you can surround yourself with, that you aspire to be like. Because again, like you said, you surround yourself with people you want to be like, and that's who you end up becoming.
That's
right?
really good. That's really good.
Yeah.
And right now, when we start out, it's just going to be the program in itself. But what I would love to see happen, I don't know how this could be happening, but I'm going to put this out there because I believe in like manifestation with the Lord and like speaking it and having faith that it could happen. What I would love to have happen, and maybe the right person is listening to this, but is where we could eventually get like a duplex where one side, because we have 4 or 5 kids right now in the program, and there's other kids that I know that have nowhere to go. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we could have one, like a duplex, right? Like, let's say we have a 3-bedroom on each side duplex and put a couple bunk beds in each one. We have a side for the guys getting out of prison and a side for the young men who have who need a little bit more support. Yeah. And wouldn't that be cool to have like a men's home that's kind of like...
That would be super dope. Yeah, it's funny. When we first talked about this, and just... Thank you, Lord. Just like right now, man, like you start saying stuff like that, my spirit gets excited, dude. My spirit's like, man, think about the people we can help. Think about the people that we can impact. Think about, and it's not just about us helping others, right? But if we help somebody and they find the way and the keys of success to stay out of prison, then they're going to go back and help somebody else.
It's so true.
And this is just going to create a trickle effect to where there's a lot of us are out there that are like, hey, you're just getting out, but guess what? I can show you how to stay out this time.
Yeah.
And then they'd be able to go help each other, man. This could really turn into something special.
You know what's cool, Brian? And just to like kind of give you a little bit of giving a person their flowers. One of the reasons that like I aspire to like be totally clean and sober. Like you're the first person that I thought that ever made sobriety look cool. I think I said that at your wedding.
Yeah.
But I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Every time I saw someone in sobriety, they were like miserable and grumpy. And like, I was like, I don't even want that. You know what I mean? Like, and then so every time I would quit, drinking or smoking or whatever, it was like, I lived in this like, almost like resentment of having to be clean. Yeah. Right. And then I met you and like, I don't know. I just wanted to give you your props because you really are like one of the first people that I've ever made that's like seems like made sobriety cool. You know what I mean?
Well, I appreciate that. And let me tell you, like that just shows the miraculous works of our God, right? Because I didn't think I'd ever be happy sober. Because like you, like anytime I'd have to get sober because of prison or whatever the case may be, man, I was miserable, unhappy, and I never thought me, if anybody knows me from the past, I was never sober, ever. Yeah. Ever. Multiple things I was on at all times. And I just thought that was my lot in life. I thought that's who I was going to be. But getting sober this time and being happy and truly being happy has been a game changer. And it makes not wanting to relapse, not go back that much stronger.
Well, and you also have so many people that look up to you now. You know what I mean? That like,
which is crazy.
That lean on you as far as, you know what I mean? Like, dude, honestly, if you relapse, dude, it would probably mess up my sobriety. Like, not to put you, no pressure.
No pressure.
But seriously, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people in our boat, in our our groups that hang out with you and that, like it's really a cool thing. You should be proud of that.
I am.
So
I'm
now,
grateful for it.
Yeah, you should be. So now, like an ask, like I said, if there's, this isn't gonna be free for us to do all this stuff. So like, if you guys have any desire, if you know anyone, or if anyone has any desire to pour into this, like, we would love it, and it would definitely help. All of our stuff, because we are an approved 501c3 nonprofit through the government, everything that comes into us is a tax write-off to you. And another thing that I'm really proud about is our books, like our bank account is just an open book. Like if anybody ever came to me and is like, Shawn, I want to see what you're spending money on with these kids, I will give you a copy of our bank statement. Like that's how serious the money is to me. Now that Brian's coming in as the director on that other side, I'm going to add him to the account, to the bank account, get him a card and everything. So it's just a little bit cleaner in the process of like, and it's the more eyes are on something, the more accountability there is. Yeah. That's a huge thing for what our program is going to be also for these guys getting out of prison is the accountability aspect, you know?
Accountability to integrity, right? Yeah. You know, doing the right thing even when no one's watching, which I'm grateful that, you know, you do have that open door policy with that, because I think it does give people transparency and being like, here, you know, you want to see what this money's going to? Come take a look. We'll sit down with you and show you every dollar we're spending, where we're spending it, why we're spending it.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And then it just also makes people more comfortable. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
No one in our program, we do not have a nonprofit to make money. Like, I do not get a penny. I mean, every once in a while, if I'm taking the boys to do something, I might fill up my truck with gas, right? Yeah. Like, but I'm picking up these boys and taking them all over. Or sometimes if I take like someone who I'm trying to like might be a potential investor or something, like I might take them out, we might go eat, you know, stuff like that. Yeah. But as far as like money, like coming in, nobody on these in our nonprofit, nobody is getting paid, no salary. I have considered bringing on like maybe 10 hours a week, like a young college kid, like as an intern, because there are a lot of things that I don't do that I should, as far as like
all the paperwork,
organization, paperwork, because we're running 100 miles an hour, especially, you know, with all the storms we've had. You know, me and Brian both own roofing companies as well. So it's like, so I think that I could be even more efficient and productive, and it would make the program better if I poured out, you know, if I had someone 10 hours a week and I gave them $20 an hour or something, $200 a week could take us to the next level. You know what I mean? With the organization and the structure, but
so if it's in your heart to give and you feel a passion for wanting to help these men or boys, you know, with second chances, and I think we've all been there. We've all made mistakes. We've all gotten second chances. Some of us have gotten
third, fourth,
500, 600, 700 chances.
So true.
And it wasn't until, you know, the 700th chance that I figured it out. If you feel led to pour into that, please reach out, you know.
Yeah, you can go to the website. It's second with a 2. I should have bought both the domains at the same time with spelled out, because that's a problem that happens a lot. But second with a 2, so 2ND, chancementors.org. And then if you scroll down, there's like a donate tab. It goes through PayPal or something. You can even say like $5 a month. Sometimes that's even better than just a large lump sum, because down the road we have continuous support, you know? Yeah. But dude, anything is awesome. And again, I'm not good at the asking for money thing, because I always feel like I'm asking for money for myself. It makes me super awkward and uncomfortable. Yeah. But I had a pastor tell me the other day that, like, Shawn, you have to start asking for donations, because people aren't just going to give it to you if they don't know you need it, you know?
Well, and, you know, not only that, but we serve a big God. Whoever is listening to this, it's going to reach the right person. Yeah, it's going to feel this and, you know, in their spirit, to be like, man, this is something special. I want to be a part of this.
I love that. That's awesome. But really, that's it, man. We really were just chopping this up so we could be to make this announcement about the Second Chance Mentors Fresh Out program. I always forget the name. I like the Fresh Out. We can even get cool shirts that say like Second Chance Fresh Out. That'd be cool.
I think it'd be really cool. But maybe we'll have them for the next episode.
Yeah, we'll get them. And so me and Brian are also gonna do this once a month. So you'll start to see Brian a lot. So like I'll have other guests in between, but then me and Brian will come back on here and do like check-ins, like what's going on with the program, what's new. Some of y'all, you might get out in this DFW area, become part of Fresh Out, and then I'm going to have you come on the show. You can tell about, you know, what it's done for you or what life has been like for you. And because really we want people to have more, you know, confidence coming out. And then, so look us up, y'all.
If you're going to be paroling to the Mansfield, Arlington location, definitely send us a letter. If it's something you want to be a part of, there's going to be some stipulations, some things that we require of you. But I think overall, it's going to give you a better chance to, when you get out, to stay out, man. And that's what this is all about, right?
That's so good. Yeah. It reminds me of Javier. He hasn't even been able to make it to men's group because he's been working so hard.
He was actually there last night.
Did he? And I missed last night. That's funny. so Javier was struggling, man. He was like, man, I can't find a job, Shawn, when he came to men's group. And I know this guy, dude, I hooked him up with this landscaper I know. And now he's like Javier's like running his crews, making like good money.
Good money.
Good money. Like he's turned down some other jobs now because he's making awesome
Buying
money.
a nice car and all sorts
dude,
of things.
we have so many. I have so many different avenues of places to work that are felon friendly. So like, and we're going to use that to create this program. So do you have anything to say before we hop off?
Man, I'm praying for you guys. You know, I know that it hasn't been that long since I've been in. I know what it's like, man. So keep your head up, stay prayed up. And like I said, man, reach out, write us a letter, let us know what's going on.
That's good. Yeah, I just want you to remember that you're loved and you're forgiven and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love you
Peace.
guys.